Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. On today's video, we're talking about 5 freshmen to keep your eye on during the months of January, February, and March. These guys are early enrolled. But before we do, definitely hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We appreciate you more than you know. Now, today, on Monday, January 25th, early enrollees that arrived in January will begin to work out with the Alabama strength coaches, Dr. Matt Ray and David Ballou. They'll be working out inside the Bill Battle Athletic Performance Center, newly named after former Alabama Athletic Director Bill Battle. Now, the Alabama weight room, as you can imagine, is top flight. This is a place where even former Alabama players that have left and are getting ready for the NFL, or guys who are looking to continue to train that are from Alabama, come back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, just because the weight room is that superior. You're talking about a weight room that is state of the art. In fact, this is a very outdated photo. Since the arrival of Dr. Matt Ray and David Ballou, they've put a ton of technology into this weight room to really make it another key addition, a key asset for these players to have at their disposal. I think when you're out there and you're like, why Alabama? And we're going to talk about the new locker rooms at the Mount Moore facility as well. But the weight room is simply next level. It's got a ton of room. So these early enrollees coming in are going to have access to that. And the fourth quarter program has not started at Alabama. That'll begin on February 1st for the early enrollees. But right now they'll just be working out. So now let's talk about 5 early enrollees to keep your eye on going into this 2021 season. J.C. Latham coming in as a 5-star. The number one player at the position is an offensive tackle. And the reason that we feel that J.C. Latham has an opportunity to make an impact for Alabama is the Crimson Tide lose Alex Otherwood at tackle. So, and depending on how things go for J.C. Latham and how quickly he's able to learn the terminology, you're looking at a player who could potentially fight for some playing time early on, if not even fight out for a starting position. There's going to be a lot of competition at the offensive line going into the spring football season, into summer, into the 2021 season. So J.C. Latham is a guy that everybody's excited about. And let's see if he can fight for that right tackle position coming in. I think when you look at Alabama overall on the offensive line side, you see that Evan Neal most likely to swap to that left tackle position. So there's going to be a position battle on the right side of Alabama's offensive line. J.C. Latham coming in with a lot of upside, a lot of potential. Let's see how he develops over these next 3 months. Let's also talk about JaQuincy McKinstry. Nate Oates had some positive things to say about him on the basketball side. So he's coming in for Alabama for football. That's his priority, right? But he's starting to work out with the basketball team, which is pretty incredible considering that he just got to Alabama. So talk about having a busy schedule. JaQuincy's coming in as a defensive back. We feel he can make an impact for Alabama in kind of the similar regard to J.C. Latham, because there's a position battle, right? With Patrick Surtain moving on to the NFL. Alabama is going to need a defensive back to step up. Is that going to be Kyrie Jackson? Is that going to be Ronald Williams? Both of those guys are junior college transfers. Is it going to be Jalen Armour-Davis? Or is it going to be JaQuincy McKinstry? Look, the corner position, most difficult position to play in all of college football. He's coming in with a lot of hype, a lot of athleticism, and a lot of upside. JaQuincy McKinstry, I feel, is going to make a splash. Here's what Nate Oates said about him recently when asked about JaQuincy performing with the basketball team.
Asking about Kool-Aid being on the bench tonight and just what the plan is for him going forward now that he's on campus.
Yeah, he came to school semester early like a lot of football guys do, and we recruited him as basketball, football player, and he's been showing up to practice when his schedule permits. We're trying to get him accustomed to what we're doing. It's going to take a long time. I mean, obviously, you think about our new players now. They were here in June. So think about all the time that he's missed. It's going to be hard for him to do anything realistically with the team game-wise this year. But, we're going to let him practice. Now, obviously, when they start their conditioning program in football, that takes precedent. So we'll see what our time looks like when that starts. But for now, anytime he can get over here and practice with us, he practiced with us yesterday. We ran him on the scout team. He's a great kid. I like having him around. I shot a game of pool with him today after shoot around. He likes to talk. I like the kid a lot, so I love having him around. I just, we'll have to see how the schedules work out and how much we can get him. He seems like a pretty intelligent kid to where he can pick stuff up pretty quick too. So He's obviously a great athlete. Could, kind of brings that blue-collar toughness, gritty. He could probably give us some of that, but we'll have to see how he picks up the system and all that here.
All right, we got another incoming tackle for the Alabama Crimson Tide is Tommy Brockemeyer, a guy with a ton of upside as well, 6'6", 288 pounds. He's a 5-star out of the state of Texas. And just as I mentioned, there's going to be position battles taking place across the board with the offensive line, working with new offensive line coach Doug Marrone. So Tommy Brockemeyer is a name that you certainly can't forget about going into the spring season. You got 2 5-star tackles coming in. Alabama is simply loaded at that position going forward for plenty of years to come. Tommy Brockemeyer has the athleticism, has everything you're looking for, really, in a tackle that can make a splash early on as a freshman. So when people say freshmen don't play at Alabama, that's completely ridiculous because we've seen in the past that these freshmen continue to get onto the field. Let's talk about new enrollee quarterback Jaylen Milo for a little bit. 6'3", 194 pounds, out of Katy, Texas, completely balled out at the high school level. Now, he's coming in a quarterback room that has 2 guys competing for the job already, right? You got Bryce Young, you got Paul Tyson. And I think that there's a lot of users out there in the comment box that have been like, hey, you guys are forgetting about Jaylen Milo. No, not at all. What we like about Jaylen Milo, his overall athleticism, he's got a big arm, and he's a playmaker. And I think coming into the spring season, depending on how quickly he can get acclimated, how fast he can pick up the playbook, and let's face it, how he can pick up the pace of the game. Nick Saban talks about the pace a lot because from high school to college, things are going to move quicker. You're going against the Alabama defense, a very experienced Alabama defense. So if Jaylen Milo, who has a very high intellect, can come in, pick up the playbook, make some plays, he's going to get opportunities. Paul Tyson, Bryce Young, those guys are ahead in terms of having the experience in terms of, practice, the playbook, the film room. But overall, none of these guys really has experience at all playing. Bryce Young, as we've talked about, only threw the football 22 times. So Jaylen Milo's coming in a quarterback room that has limited experience. And another factor is to add in that these quarterbacks are going to have a new offensive coordinator. So it's almost like a level playing field going into the 2021 season. So we want to see how he progresses, how he throws the football, honestly, going into this springtime. So keep watch on Jaylen Milo, a guy we are really excited about. Kind of a sleeper in this mix. There's so many guys coming in, so maybe none of them are sleepers, right? But talking with Andrew Bone, a Bama insider, he's been so high on Deonte Lawson and what he brings to Alabama. Now, with the Crimson Tide losing Dylan Moses to the NFL, Alabama is going to need an inside linebacker to step up. Yes, they have plenty of options, right? Jalen Moody, Ali Cajo, maybe it could even be somebody else. But Deonte Lawson coming in with a ton of talent. A lot of these guys are, right? You got even Kendrick Blackshire, you got Ian Jackson. So there's some younger guys that are going to compete for that inside linebacker spot. Watch for Deonte Lawson. Now, each of these freshmen that have early enrolled are going to have access to Alabama's newly renovated locker rooms. You're talking about locker rooms that are completely next level, locker rooms that have really continued to set Alabama apart. And remember, these aren't the locker rooms at the stadium at Bryant-Denny. These are locker rooms that are at the Mal Moore facility. So Alabama has 2 different locker rooms that are newly updated. These are at the Mal Moore. So they'll be once you practice at Alabama, they'll be going back to these locker rooms, and they'll have new graphics with each of the players' names and all the lights and everything that you want. So why Alabama? I mean, former NFL coaches that are coaching the staff, new locker rooms. The stadium, once Alabama added those stadium lights in the evening time, they took it to a whole other level. And then remember, what Nick Saban is doing with the Alabama Crimson Tide on the field, 13-0 perfect season, sending guys to the league, first round. Why Alabama? This is Alabama. So all these guys coming in, super excited to see how they develop from January, February into March. High expectations on all these guys. Really can't wait to see how they develop and what they can do for the Crimson Tide in their initial year. For more coverage on the freshmen that have enrolled at Alabama or the freshmen that are incoming during the summertime, or for spring football coverage, go to BamaInsider.com. My name's Kyle Henderson, and we'll catch you next time right here. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We appreciate you more than you know.